This is your sciatic pain relief practice. There are exercises from PT, somatic releasing, yoga asana, and more. You will get relief by balancing your pelvis, strengthening hamstrings, glute med, glute men, and developing deep core connection. If you want to learn more about these principles, watch the podcast on sciatica pain relief. Let's get to practice. Here are the props you need. You'll want a blanket over your mat to start, or you can practice on rug or carpet. You want a resistance band, light or medium is best, and a yoga block. Begin laying on your mat, feet on the floor, knees can drop in a little bit, hands on your lower ribs, and do a few rounds of breathing. Every inhale, you expand front, back, side to side. Every exhale, you feel the ribs drop in and down. And notice if that rhythm gets picked up by the pelvic floor. And then stretch your legs out. We're going to start with some somatic releasing work. You're going to drop the right foot, right knee out to the right, and then slide the right leg up. And you want to feel like the leg is lifted on puppeteer strings, and then slide the right leg back out. And you can turn the toes up again and do that a few times. Notice that my knee stays out to the side. It's not lifted. And I'm also only going as far as I can slide the leg. At no point pick up the foot and move it. Only go as far as you can slide, even if that's humbling and a little bit frustrating. This starts to work out tension patterns in the hip, especially related to external rotation. And if you've been cranking your hips for a couple years or a couple decades, this is usually very, very clunky and awkward on one side or both. And then after another one or two on the right side, go over to the left. And it's the same thing. You drop the foot and the knee out, and then you slide the leg up, and then you extend back out. And you want this to be as smooth as possible. And that's even why we do many, is again, that unraveling. This works on connective tissue. You'll probably notice that one side is really different than the other. Resist any tension in your lower back, any gripping to try to get the leg higher. A few more. And one or two more. And then take a moment to release and relax. And then we're going to add on. You're going to take your arms out into a T shape, and you're going to bring the right leg up into that open tree position, and then bring the right leg across. And you're going to roll onto the left hip, left side, and reach your right arm up by the ear. We call this the unraveling tree. And then you're going to release, right hip comes down, right knee opens up, and then right leg slides out. And then go to the left side, left leg up in the tree. Left leg goes across, you lift the left hip, but the right one stays down. So it's got this kind of reaching, stretching, almost like a yawn type quality. And then release, left knee opens, let it go. Here's the breathing pattern. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, go across. Inhale, reach. Exhale, release completely. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, left leg across. Inhale, reach. Exhale, release, let it all go. Keep going. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, across. Inhale, hold and reach. Exhale, let it all go. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, across. Inhale, reach. Exhale, release. One more on each side. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, go across. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it all go. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, across. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it all go. Now again, take a moment to pause, breathe, and receive. And from the releasing work, we go into activation. We're going to start with butterfly bridge. Bring the soles of your feet together and knees wide. The knees aren't totally splayed out to the side. They're a little bit lifted. And then press your elbows down and lift your hips up. You want to feel a hug along the rim of your pelvis. It's like the pelvis is lifted in a sling. And then lower down slowly. Again, press the feet down, hug the outer hips in, lift up. This gives you a really clear idea of what it means to hug the hips in, which we'll look for in clamshells, and what it means to engage at the folds of the buttocks, which you'll need in core work and when we're doing the bridging on a block. And then one more. When I first started doing these, they were profoundly fatiguing. I would shake and quake and could only stay up for a few breaths and then lower down. Now, grab your resistance band and you're going to place it on your thighs just above your knees. And then you're going to roll onto one side. Inner edge of your feet will be touching. And I'm going to move my microphone. And you're going to extend your arms out, and I recommend the fingers interlaced. And the fingers interlaced like this will help you keep the belly back, ribs in and back. And then you're going to lift and lower the upper leg. Resist any rocking. Your hands will tell you if you start to do that. Inner edge of the feet stay touching. And then if I'm not sure I'm getting the right muscles, I'll use my fingers, again, this little like bullseye on the outer hip to get really clear on the engagement I want. If you're getting it a lot in the groins, you want to soften, do less. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. And then just roll on over to the other side. Reach the arms out, interlace the hands, and then lift and lower. And again, maybe use your fingers to pinpoint those muscles. I'll have to watch the tendency to kind of start arching my back. When you arch the back, that's usually when it feels bad on your lower back or your hips or your groins. It's when you keep the belly back, ribs in and back, that you actually get more out of the outer hips. Very counterintuitive for me. Goes against all the training of like 20 years of practice and teaching. So if you're a little frustrated or confused, I get it, been there. And then when you're complete, roll onto your back. Onward and upward we go. Block goes underneath your head along the occipital ridge. And it's like a tractioning tool. It'll lengthen the back of your skull. And then you're going to put the band on your feet. And you can do this at the wall, but in a practice scenario, it can be a lot to move in and away from the wall. So we're going to be in the middle of the room. You're going to put your hands on your ribs and take an inhale through your nose. And you want to expand again, front, back, side to side. And then exhale through pursed lips like you're breathing through a straw. And do that a few more times. Inhale. Long, strong exhale. See if you can get the pelvic floor to gather up and in. And then keep going. One more. And then we're going to add the pedaling of the legs. Take an inhale. And then exhale, extend the right leg out. You can draw the left knee in. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale, extend the left leg. Keep going, side to side. Inhale. Exhale. The more you draw the left knee in and the straighter and lower the right leg goes, the more intense. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. A few more. One more. And then remove the band from your feet. It can go away. Remove the block from underneath your head. And you're going to place the block underneath your feet. And you're going to put your feet on the block for bridging. Hands and fists by the outer hips. And you're pressing your heels into the block and pulling back as if you're going to flip the block on its side. And then with your next exhale, you're going to lift up. Notice that I'm not arching in my lower back. I'm just lifting from the hips, very similar to the butterfly bridge. And then you want to keep that pressure downward through the heels. And again, like you're going to flip the block on its side. And then it's the hamstrings that are lifting the pelvis. And then roll down slowly, upper back, middle back, lower back, sacrum last and light. Do not rock into the curve. Keep everything pinned to the floor because we're going to do one more. Exhale, lift up. And this may be plenty. If you want a little more, imagine your right foot is stuck in mud and you're not going to lift it, but you're going to get it lighter and lighter and lighter as if the right foot is going to lift in any moment. And just notice how fierce that is on the left side, and then press the right heel down and don't lift the left foot. Imagine it's stuck ankle deep in mud, but you're going to lift it, and then press both heels down, lift up, take another inhale. Done well. That's very, very intense and actually much harder than actually lifting the foot, and then roll down slowly. Wonderful work. Activation, check. Hands go behind your knees and floss out the hamstrings. Cramping is pretty normal with these types of exercises in the beginning. And then rock along your spine a few times. And make your way onto hands and knees. Once you're on hands and knees, you can get rid of the blanket. Move through just a few rounds of cat and cow. And then hands on the block. Step the right foot forward to the outside edge of the block, and you're going to lean into the low lunge, and then exhale, stretch back, lift the ball of the right foot up, and do that a few times. You're going to inhale, lean in, and every time you rock back and lift the ball of the right foot up, you're going to turn the toes at a slightly different angle. Inhale, lean in, exhale, rock back. Some movement modalities call this like a rainbow action. So you're kind of tracing a rainbow with the angles of the foot. One more. And basically the movement of the foot will open up different pathways on the leg. Change sides, right knee back, left foot forward. Inhale, lean in. Exhale, stretch back, lift the ball of the foot up. Keep going. And so again, I'm going to turn the toes out a little bit more this time around. And then inhale, lean in. And this time I'm going to turn the toes a little bit in and lean back differently. So get curious, get creative. A lot of times healing means doing things differently. One or two more. And then I'm going to have you keep this block set up. Step the left knee back. And you're going to go into a down dog-ish and immediately step the right foot forward. Now, this is that rotation work we talked about in the podcast. Press the right heel down. Let the right hip wrap around like it's curling towards the left inner ankle. You can put a block beside the foot. And then the back hip, you're going to let the back hip internally rotate and wrap a little bit forward. And then left arm up, and don't worry about anything else. When the hip rotation is done well, it's like interlocking gears, and it feels like there's power being pulled up from the core of the body. And this is part of what the yoga tradition meant by like Kundalini and Sushumna Nadi. And then don't change anything about the hip rotation, just straighten the front leg. And now all of a sudden you're in a wonderful version of triangle. The top ribs can move down a little bit, so both sides of the waist are even and equal. Let's add on one more layer. Bend the front knee. Imagine someone's holding the front wrist. Don't change anything about your hips and come up to a warrior two. Note that the front hip still has that external rotation and the back hip has the internal rotation. And then arms, I like the external rotation of the arms, so palms up and then reaching. And then place the right hand back on the block. Block can go back to that starting position. Step back to down dog-ish. Change sides. Left foot forward, and here you can see the wrapping of the hip, right hip coming in. That actually allows the upper body to turn a little bit too, so I get more psoas release here. And if you find yourself really arched in the rib cage, just draw the top ribs down and then slowly straighten the front leg into triangle. Triangle done this way is less stretchy, but it's much more powerful, much more potent. And again, the pelvis is balanced and even, so the spine feels much better. And then bend the front knee, come up slowly to a warrior two. And again, keep working the interlocking gears to balance the pelvis, connect with the deep core, and then you're naturally lifted through the spine. And then left hand to the block and go back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Hands on your hips, anchor through your pelvis, come all the way up to standing. Now, in standing, lift the right heel up, turn the right leg out. So there's that external rotation, front leg, lifted leg. And you're gonna bring the right foot to the calf, or ideally the thigh. And then you're gonna use the foot to kind of brush the inner thigh back. So there's the internal rotation. And notice again, the interlocking gears, balanced pelvis, upright spine. And then change sides. Right foot down, left hip turns out, which the knee turns out too. And then you bring the left foot to the ankle, the calf, or the upper inner thigh. You maintain that external rotation. You can guide the internal rotation. And I'm always amazed by how I naturally just lift up a little bit. And that's the same thing we want in our warrior two, triangle, half moon, side angle. Even our lunges have this potential. Left foot down. Sealing everything in. Hands on your low belly. Lift your heels up. And you want to feel like you get zipped up through the pelvic floor, all the way through the crown of your head. And then lower down slowly without rocking back into your heels. And then do that a few times. Inhale when you lift. Exhale, you want heels to land evenly. You want to be grounded through your pelvis. One more. And then take your feet a little bit wider, toes turned a little bit out, Bandha breathing. Inhale, arms go up and around. This is developing more of that deep core connection. Exhale, hands come down. You press the breath out, pelvic floor up, low belly back, ribs in and back. Inhale, arms go up and around. Exhale, hands come down. It's like a plunger. You press the hands down, breath out, pelvic floor up, belly back, ribs in and back. Should feel like a hug for your pelvis and your sacrum and your lower back. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And then inhale, arms up and around. Exhale, float the hands to heart and ribs and take a moment to appreciate your practice, appreciate all that you're learning about your body, how you're balancing your pelvis, creating strength and stability, developing deep, true, lasting, sustainable core. May this create relief for your whole lower body. See you soon.